expectations going into the trip were, I had no idea what to expect. I was very worried about the little things. I was worried about what kind of water we were gonna have, what kind of food, if anything was safe to eat or touch or drink. I was very worried about that kind of stuff. But over there, I didn't have to worry about any of it after all. What I was expecting, what I was hoping for the trip is I was hoping to use my Spanish from 20 years ago, and I was very excited to use it, and then I realized that they didn't really understand me, and I didn't really understand them, so that I would love to get better at that. So next time we go, we can actually talk with the kids a little more.
Well, I mean, I kind of wanted to see a monkey. I guess that was like, I thought we were going to. Sadly, we didn't, but I was just kind of like hoping to like build a relationship with God and like kind of just like see how everybody lives down there and like what they do to like get through the day, and like just like see like what they're like, if they have a hard day, like we say we have a hard day, like see if like that really compares to our hard day.
So my expectations for the trip was that we were gonna have to be really flexible, and so we knew that going into the trip, and I was just amazed at how flexible we had to be, and we just kind of all rolled with it, and it exceeded any of my expectations. It was an amazing trip, and I didn't expect to, at the end of the week, not really want to go home, even though I wanted to go back to my husband and Carson. I just loved it there. Before I made the decision to go, I would say I had doubts and fears. My brother had told me that Honduras is a very dangerous place. So prior to making the commitment, I was like, I don't know if that's a really good idea. But then once I was there, I didn't have any of those fears or doubts, and it was all good.
Well, I was like pretty nervous. I wanted to go when I first heard about it, but I was pretty nervous because I heard that it's like dangerous and there's a travel advisory and stuff. But once I got there, I was still scared because we got there in a big city, so it was like really bad traffic and stuff like that. But once we got to where we were going, it was really safe and I felt really comfortable and stuff like that.
Originally I was a little bit worried about leaving the country and going somewhere that I knew there was a travel advisory, but after talking with the Another Child Foundation and just kind of praying about it, I realized that God was in control, and if it was meant to be, it was going to happen, and we were able to come up with the money so that we could go, so that kind of eased all those concerns. And I didn't know what to expect with the mission trip because I'd never been on one before, so I was kind of hoping that there was going to be the ability to have relationships with the kids, like get to know them better. Unfortunately, the way this one was designed, we were in so many different villages, we didn't get to have that close connection to the kids that I kind of hoped we might get to see and get to know them on a more personal level, other than just playing with them that day. And then I was just really hoping to be able to see the country since it was my first time leaving the US and having to get a passport and everything. So I was just hoping to be able to look around at, someplace other than the US and see how they lived and what they did there.
I thought I was gonna get killed because it was the murder capital of the country, and so I thought I was gonna get killed, but we didn't. Although when we got to the airport, we were told by John Frank to just stay in the airport and we'll be safe, and he kept saying that, so that made me worry that we weren't gonna be safe if we left the airport, so I didn't want to leave the airport.
I didn't really know what to expect, but Tim, the ACF director, tried to prepare us. So he said, once you decide to go on a mission trip, you just need to put your doubts and fears behind you and just focus on the mission trip. So what I did was, after that time, I started praying daily for myself and for each person that was going on the mission trip. And I just prayed for safety and for good health and for God's blessings on this trip.
I didn't really have a lot of expectations for the trip. I knew that it was going to be the first time that I was going to leave the country, and I had never flown before, but I also was going by myself, like not with my parents, so that was kind of nerve-wracking. But I also knew it was going to be extremely hot there, and then when we got there, it was like incredibly hot and humid, and it was almost even kind of gross, but that was just one thing that I was expecting, and then it like exceeded my expectations because it was really hot there. And I also knew that it was going to be a Spanish-speaking country, but I didn't really know what that was going to look like, and it was definitely difficult to communicate with people there just because of that language barrier.
The relationships that I was most surprised, I was really excited to see the kids and talk with them, but really I was just fell in love with the moms that came along with the group. There was a 40-year-old who was the same age as me, mom that was in our group because she had a little boy that was 10 years old, and he was confined to a stroller, kind of like their form of a wheelchair, and so she came to each stop with us, and even though we couldn't speak the same language, we still were able to communicate a little bit with each other. And when we said goodbye, we hugged probably 2 times for like 30 seconds each, and so I think if we were able to speak the same language, we would have been able to just nonstop talk the whole time, so that was really special.
So I didn't really know what to expect with the boys that we were meeting because we've never met them before, but they were amazing. They were like big brothers. I mean, I have one, but they were amazing. They're really good role models. They're really good Christians, and I look up to them, and I hope to be like them. But like everybody there was like, they were pretty like nice. They were really nice, and like, I don't know, yeah.
I would say just being with our group, we had just an amazing group, and the kids were awesome too. The translators were awesome. I think we would all say we wish we could have spent more time with the different groups of kids, but we only had really a couple hours about every day with the groups of kids. So yeah, just the overall experience was awesome, and recommend going again and recommend for anyone to go, but I would definitely go again.
It was hard to like make relationships really with the people because we went to a different village every day, so we didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with the people. But I feel like just the group, and we went to the river outside, and it was just a lot of fun, just going with the flow.
There were a lot of memorable experiences on this trip. There wasn't really like one that I can pick out because there was just so many different things. I mean, just from being there during the Bible story time and having kids say they wanted to accept Jesus, that was amazing, just to have these kids willing to accept Jesus into their heart, and you get to pray with them and talk with them. I sincerely hope that they have follow-up afterwards, so that they can build a relationship. Then there were just some of the more goofy things, like, a cat ate some chicken that the group was eating at lunchtime and got a bone stuck in its throat, and I helped to pull the bone out of the chicken's throat, or out of the cat's throat, the chicken bone out of the cat's throat. But just, I think overall, just the acceptance from everybody too. Even though we didn't speak a lot of Spanish, I can barely get by asking where the bathroom is and simple phrases. The people and the kids, they loved us, and it didn't matter that we couldn't communicate very well. They still brought us in, took care of us, and loved us nonetheless. So.
There was a lot, but probably all the kids, because they were like, at one of the places that we went, when we were all leaving, they would all come up and give us hugs, and then there was one girl that gave us a hug and then like a kiss on her cheek, and that was like, whoa, because like kids here don't really do that. And there was a kid at another place that we went, I think it was Bethany, and she just was like wandering around and like she didn't have anyone with her. And like, so we picked her up and she was just all smiley and happy, and that was really cool.
The most memorable experience for me were the people. And I really connected with one of the interpreters, Jelena. She shared her life with me, and she grew up at the Point of Hope, never knew her dad. And now she teaches there because she has such a love and just a deep love and wanting these children to know the Lord. She was always cheerful, smiling, and just really connected with her.
I had a lot of memorable things from the trip. Some of the things that I will always remember is the food, because it was just really good. And then I'm always going to remember the crazy traffic, how they drive down there. It was just insane, and we were all like, what's going on? But I also am always going to remember the river that we got to swim in, because that was really fun. And we spent a lot of time there after going to the villages, and it was kind of just like a relaxing, fun time for us. But I'm definitely always going to remember the people that were there and just how friendly they were, and they were just so nice to us even though we couldn't really like speak to them. They just welcomed us into their homes and their villages. And then I'm also never going to forget the team that I went with, because they're just so special, and we just formed a really tight bond, and we had a lot of fun.
Coming back from this trip, it's so hard to put into words. Unless you go, you don't really understand exactly what's going on, but I'll try. I want to be able to look for ways in my community to help people, and not necessarily, because everyone here knows about God, so you're not like introducing them to God, but I just want to be the hands and feet of God in our community.
So, like, in church, like, you sit there and you like pay attention, but like I want to like pay more attention and like actually like know the true meaning and like take notes and stuff. And I want to like inspire other people to go on this trip, and like it doesn't matter what age you are, like young or old, and I just really want others to go and have the experience I did, because it definitely changed me, but I like the way it changed me. And yeah.
Definitely just seeing God work in another country is an awesome experience, like worshiping in a church where you can't understand everything that's going on, but yet they're still all worshiping and praising the same God that we are. When we were at church, I was just thinking, we've got our church family back in Erie, and they're worshiping and praising the same God at the same time, and it's just an awesome perspective. And also, prior to the trip, we prayed for God to just soften the hearts of the kids and to actually like pray with them. Prayers of salvation was an amazing experience that I'll never forget, and that's just it makes me think more now about there's still a lot of people that need to hear about Jesus right here in our hometown and everywhere we go.
So I feel like, of course, I'm 11, so I still want things, but when I start to want something really bad, I just try to remember like how little the kids have there, and they'd like get a balloon animal and be so happy. And kids here, they have toys everywhere and can just play with whatever, but the kids there, like, they're so happy for everything they have, and they have so much less, but they're so much happier.
I think I've realized that we all need to learn to be happier with less. They didn't have much, and they were still generous and loving, and I think we get so focused on stuff. And we need to realize that stuff is not that important. I've already started going through and decluttering my house, just trying to get rid of the stuff. So I think that was kind of the big thing for me, just realizing I need to be happier with less and not be so concerned about all of the things that I have. But then also, I just want to be able to do this again. So being able to save the money and go on another mission trip is going to be a big deal for me. I want to be able to try to do this, as much as I can, because I do feel like we made a difference.
I'd say probably we're really lucky for having garbage cans and stuff, because in Honduras they didn't have they had little buckets that you could put your trash in, but it was all on the side of the road. And so you would have the beautiful environment, and then you would just see trash for miles. And so that's just something that we're really probably thankful for, is just being able to have a place to put trash and not having it on the side of the road.
Well, I would say that the blessings were all mine. The Honduran people are so gracious and so generous and very hospitable. And we went to a village one day that, as most of the villages, was quite poor. And yet, when we didn't know that, we brought our sandwiches along, and yet they fed us. So out of what little they had, they gave back to us. And that was probably the thing it was just very humbling for me. And I just want to thank everybody for all your prayers for us. And if you're ever thinking about going on a mission trip, just, God's nudging you, don't listen to him, just listen to God.
Overall, I really enjoyed the trip, and I found that I got to work a lot on my spiritual life and just finding time to spend with God. I was able to get up in the morning and read my Bible, and before that I didn't really have a schedule that I did for that. So I definitely think that it helped me just realize that I need to be spending more time in the Word. And I also found that now I'm more grateful about the things that I have back at home. And it's not that I compare my life to the life of others there, but I see the stuff that I have, and I can just be more thankful for the things that I have here, because I'm really so blessed, and I shouldn't be complaining about simple things that happen during my life, because I've seen what other people go through.
It was an awesome trip. I love the people. I can't say enough good things about the whole trip. I can't wait to go back someday.
If you're debating going because of the food was amazing. It was probably the best part, not really, but it was really fun. And if you're on the, edge, you don't know if you should go or not, you should go. Just do it. And then if there's signs that God is telling you not to go, then don't go. But try it out.
Fantastic.
I would encourage anybody that wants to go on a mission trip to go ahead and make that commitment and go, because if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. You're going to find a way to get the money. You're going to find a way to get there. You're going to get that passport right on time. But then also you're going to get to know people that you would have never known. I'm now Facebook friends with all of our interpreters that we use and get to communicate with them, and so they get to practice English, and when I feel more comfortable, I'll get to practice some Spanish. So it's going to give you relationships you weren't expecting, and I would encourage anyone that ever wants to think about it just to take that leap and go for it.